pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call this school board meeting of District 544 to order. And clerk, will you take roll, please?
Yes, Kirby Anderson.
Here.
Natalie Knudsen.
Here.
Melanie Cole.
Here.
Matthew Lemke.
Here.
Missy Hermes, present. Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thanks. Can I get a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
A second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The agenda is approved. We have a resolution on acknowledgements. Thank you to the Otter PTO for their donations to Adam and McKinley Elementary classrooms. Can someone offer that resolution for its adoption?
I'll offer that resolution for its adoption.
And a second?
A second.
And Missy, will you take roll?
Yes. Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. And then we'll move into our reports tonight. And our first report is Amelia Lamar, our curriculum director.
Yeah, good evening. This year I had the pleasure of reviewing PE and health equipment and curriculum with our K-12 PE and health department. And it was a very unique review, especially compared to what I did as a review last year, which was my first year in this position. It was different in that we weren't looking at novels or workbooks or anything like that. It was PE equipment and footballs and what size is right for what grade. And so it was very fun, it was very light, and I learned so much more than I was expecting to, which I appreciated. So this review consists primarily of a request for renewal of our current health curriculum as well as PE equipment. So with that, I'll get started. So first, thank you for taking the time to see me this evening. I am here to present the proposal for a renewal of our health curriculum, the Great Body Shop, as well as the adoption of new PE equipment across our district. The Great Body Shop curriculum was initially adopted and implemented in 2016, and since then it has been an invaluable resource in educating our students about health and wellness. I received unanimous feedback from kindergarten up through secondary grade teachers about the Great Body Shop. All teachers find the materials well organized, easy to use, age appropriate, and engaging for students. The Great Body Shop includes consumable pamphlets, also referred to as magazines in our classrooms, that look similar to this for student use. As a part of the renewal, we're proposing updating the current teacher manuals, as the current manuals have been used and reused and passed from teacher to teacher for about 8 years now, so going on a decade. Additionally, the cost for the consumable magazines would be required. This annual cost remains similar to what the cost has been for the last 8 years, with the most recent purchase just being this last fall of 2023. In addition to the curriculum renewal, we propose the adoption of new PE equipment across our elementary, middle, and high schools. The last PE equipment review and implementation also occurred in 2016, making this update timely and necessary, as some of that equipment is used hundreds of times in one day. Requests were organized to fulfill the needs of grade level changes across buildings and the addition of Lincoln School. The PE department teachers conducted a thorough analysis of their current equipment and sequenced their requests by needs to be replaced and additional requests to support their units and standards. This included the adaptation of equipment to meet the needs of students who receive alternative physical education instruction. Many of our PE teachers are certified in this area and are confident in their continuing ability to adapt this equipment to meet each of those individual student needs. The total PE equipment amounts and itemized list can be viewed on the the FIED curriculum request spreadsheet that was shared with you. There you can find the items organized by building, and then within each tab then you can find them organized by their standard and unit, as well as the items that would be necessary for storage and the implementation of the games or the items. Importantly, all of these items fit within the allotted budget with room for any needs that may have been missed with the outfitting of Lincoln and the reallocation of grade levels across our buildings. It's important to note that there is no ongoing purchasing needed for PE equipment at this time. Furthermore, no professional development or extended training is required as part of the curriculum renewal. It was truly a pleasure to work with our PE and health teachers throughout this process. Their passion and expertise in their areas is quite commendable. We are very fortunate as a district to have a PE and health department filled with such strong leaders who care so much about the health and well-being of our students. And I am very pleased to be a small part of the process to ensure they continue to have the resources that they need to do their work. Again, I told you this was a very unique review process, making it, I feel like it's a unique proposal to you. So therefore, I am open to any questions from the board at this time.
Any questions for Amelia? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, then we'll move on to our next board report, and we have Kirby Anderson.
Yes, I have nothing to report on finance or activities, but we did have 2 meetings of the 544 Foundation. I'll just go over a couple of highlights of that. The foundation just went over $2.2 million in assets, which was remarkable. A good part of that was it won a large gift from a former one of our alumni that passed away, Mark Wing, that actually was also on the 544 Foundation board for a long time, and so that was just short of $250,000. So that was some good news that finally came through. Other highlights from the 2 meetings: the major donor newsletter went out. The second one of the year went out early March. The third one's going out this month. The senior recognition ceremony was held last Monday night on May 6th. The classroom wish list email has gone out to all of the teachers. The Grant and Scholarship Committee has met. Applications were down quite a bit this year, but there's still some interest, and there's still some money to be had by students. This will be the last year that the foundation runs the Legends Golf Tournament. That will be July 12th. There's no legends that are being honored, any new legends, so it's kind of a Legends reunion thing, and then I believe our activities department may be taking that over afterwards if they want to continue that. And that's about it. Our next meeting will be Thursday at noon, June 13th. So, any questions on that?
Questions for Kirby? All right, thanks. Next board report is Melanie Cole.
All right, well, we didn't have any meet and confirm meetings. We had a special ed cooperative board meeting today, and just a couple of highlights there. The special ed co-op has worked with staff to look at their assignments for next school year, and we did some hiring for and renewed contracts for a variety of positions. Shannon Erickson's been doing some special education monitoring through the federal and state programming throughout this year. She said she's been on board with Nancy Reard because we will have that type of monitoring coming up in 2 years, or 3 years I think it is, and just helping Nancy Reard get familiar with the type of expectations and the things that they check. There's a couple of positions like low incidence special education teachers that would be hard to come by even if we were still part of the cooperative, and now it just kind of illustrates it even more because now we're looking and the co-op's looking. But we may, the special ed co-op's gonna work with Lakes Country Service Cooperative and try and get some of those staff positions filled. Does that resonate with what conversations you've had, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that And then coordinating summer students because, our summer services for students, because some of the special education students get services throughout the summer, and they'll be ending their term in the end of June, and then we'll take over, but it sounds like that's been going decent in terms of coordinating and making that seamless for the kids. Other significant information is that they have a new spot to be, and Sandy Kitzman, retirement came through today. That was the highlights from Special Ed Co-op Board. Region 1 had a meeting last month, and probably the most significant thing there is that Bob Wheeler's gonna retire. He's gonna retire at the end of the year. So we've already started looking for somebody to replace him. Renee, you can't even think about it. Just because it's a unique skill set with all the technology terminology and infrastructure, and you kind of have to understand that, but also the financial component, it's certainly a different kind of school district. But so talked about that, and then the migration of additional schools to our system and all the regular technology stuff. So that really summarizes my board reports. Any questions? All right.
Thanks. Okay, the next board report then is Missy Hennies.
Okay, policy committee has not met, but we've been getting updates from the legislature. This is the last week where they're getting things done, and so I expect that we'll get a longer list of policies to review later this summer. And then the curriculum review advisory committee met on the 15th of April, and that's the last time that committee meets until October again. So, and so you heard Amelia describe some of the presentations. Jamie Lill, Angela Harstead, and Renee Erickson did a really great job of describing the health and the PE curriculum and going over that with us. And then the other person that reported was Krista Simongard, who was updating us on the talent development curriculum and Otter Scholars and having a growth mindset and so on, and all that is going on with that, accelerated math. And then updating us on the different testing, STAR math, reading, MCAs, and then the COGAT test, which is in elementary school. And that's it.
Any questions for Missy? All right, thanks. Next is my reports. Wellness has not met, like Missy said, policy has not met, and then buildings and grounds.
Took that policy right out of your mouth, sorry.
It's okay, we're both, for both of us. And then buildings and grounds has not formally met, but we have a big vote tomorrow regarding buildings and grounds. So a little plug there. Get out and vote. Okay, next board report then is Matt Lemke, Minnesota State High School League.
Yeah, just some updates on the Minnesota High School League. They formally do not meet until later this summer. They have some working stuff, but just for our informational purposes is that our own activities director, Derek Abrams, is part of two kind of subcommittees of the Minnesota High School League. One is working on the ninth grade governance board, and they will be bringing a recommendation to, he's part of that group, working group, that's going to give a recommendation to the Minnesota High School League board on just where and how ninth grade should be placed under or not under the Minnesota High School League. Currently they are not under the Minnesota High School League. And then the second thing that he's involved in is he's partnering with, is part of the group that's working with other ADs as partnership with the Positive Coaching Alliance that the state of Minnesota is working on. So there's a couple of things that he's actively involved in. So just thought I'd bring that to the board's attention. That's all I have to report.
Any questions for Matt? All right, then we'll move to Steve Ixa.
Staff development met. It's our last meeting until next school year, which I'm looking for the date on that, September 9th. And the current budget for staff development remaining funds are just $10,593, which will carry over into the next school year. Personally, I would like to see that be zero. That means that we've used up those dollars for staff to develop their skills, and I don't know if it's a post-COVID kind of thing where trips and different things to different conferences and things to go to just haven't been something that people are back in the habit of doing yet, or they don't know of the opportunities available to them. So I think, the meetings are done until the fall, so in the fall, I think at least something that I'll continuously try to bring up, whether, the staff know what the opportunities that are available to them, because we've set aside this money for them to do that, so that's just my opinion, I guess. I'd like to see that zeroed out, but it's nice that we can carry it over. The discussion was mainly just around the topics for the staff development days, mid-January and end of February. Just some topics that they're planning to cover based on availability of the speakers, I suppose, are American Indian history and culture, English language learner, positive behavior intervention, reading, background of science reading for non-elementary teachers, accommodation, modification, adaptation of curriculum, materials and strategies, mental illness, suicide prevention, cultural competency. So there's a wide array of things that are going to be available in the next year. And that's kind of the gist of the meeting. So I had one request to approve, but other than that, there's no meeting until September 9th of next year, or this year, so.
Any questions for Steve?
I don't really have a question, but I do have a comment
Sure.
about that carrying over.
Yeah.
That is one of the benefits of that committee.
Mhm.
One of the nice things about that is sometimes the staff development committee would like to bring in a speaker that is quite costly. And by having a little money in that fund, it's easier to line a speaker like that up.
It actually hasn't been told. No one said, when I asked, like, why do we have a balance left? But no, it's good that we can do that.
It's not a problem to have.
No,
It's not a problem.
All right,
what I got.
and our final report is Superintendent Drake. Thanks, Steve.
Good evening. Lots of recognitions for various groups have taken place in the last few weeks. So we had Teacher Appreciation Week take place last week. We had celebrating the School Nurses Day on May 8th. So appreciate Jen, Jamie, Brooke, and Heather and all the work that they do. School Lunch Heroes Day, so appreciation to all of our lunch professionals, food service. They have broken a number of serving records this year, the elementaries for breakfast, and so hats off to all the hard work that they've done promoting those breakfast meals and all the work they've done preparing them for the students. And we had Principal Appreciation Day. That was back on May 1st. And I don't have a slide for it, but this coming Wednesday, we will do our Support Staff of the Year program. That will be down in the cafeteria we'll get started around 3:45. Typically that program is relatively short. We'll be done right around 4, a little bit after. But please come for some lemonade, cookies, and coffee, and we'll celebrate our Support Staff of the Year. Special thanks to Elaine for all her work in preparing for the election. This has been ongoing since back in January. And Amelia has also been working extremely hard in preparation for the READ Act, making sure that there's a training plan for our teachers. It's elementary teachers that need it in first year, but also our interventionists and our special ed teachers, and that goes district-wide. So there's been a ton of meetings that she's had with area colleagues, as well as virtual meetings with MDE. They're still working out with this legislative session some additional funding to pay for the training that's going to take place, but she's got a schedule. She worked with a couple teachers to make sure there was an interest in following up to be trainers. So we have 2 individuals doing that, and a really solid plan moving forward that really takes advantage of available work time within the normal work schedule, and then trying to keep the outside hours to a minimum for the staff, out of respect for their family time, etc. So it's a good plan moving forward, and appreciate all her work on it. Congrats to Maya Fear on receiving the Craig Frederickson Athlete of the Meet Award at the DL Track Meet. She's having a wonderful track season. Congratulations to Annika, Griffin, Isabel, Kellen, Tim, and Leighton on their signing day. We had a number of players going on to pursue hockey, but also golf. This one with Isabel was unique, rodeo, college rodeo. And so congratulations to those students, and best of luck to them as they pursue sports beyond high school. Our adaptive bowling team had a really successful sectional meet. They all qualified to go to state. And so congratulations to each of those young men and women. We also had a second student recognized with art that will be displayed down at the State Senate office, and that's 9th grader Cassidy. So congratulations to her. We had some really nice spring events. The spring choir concert was very enjoyable, and then I had an opportunity to see the spring school play last Thursday. I wrote a little bit about it in a correspondence to the teachers on Friday, but whereas most plays might have multiple sets and lots of physical activity going on, this is a play essentially just set inside a juror's deliberation room, and the acting has to carry the production. These young actors really did a phenomenal job. The play had an intermission, but it was still close to 2 hours long all told. And so their dialogue and interaction with each other is what keeps you attentive. And again, thanks to the advisors and to the cast of 12 Angry Men. Our Otterbots continued their success down at state. They finished 4th overall, which is a tremendous accomplishment. In addition to that, they also received recognition from the Dunwoody College of Technology. And Dunwoody is huge for vocational education down in the metro. It's got a wonderful reputation. But essentially what that piece was is representatives from Dunwoody asked the students about their design and why they did it the way they did it, which plays again right into our portrait of a graduate with those higher order thinking skills and problem solving skills and trial and error. And they received recognition for how well they were able to explain the design features on their robot. Once again, Mr. Pearson has the Envirothon teams really well prepared. We had first and second place finishes at the meet. And so congratulations to first place Jaden, Tommy, Logan, Eric, and Josiah. And second place with Siri, Nadia, Libby, Claire, and Lauren. This was middle school recognition for cumulative GPAs of 3.5 or higher. Over 90 students in each grade were acknowledged, and so keep up the great work there. Recent events, we had a Touch a Truck event at the Fergus Falls Fairgrounds. That's always very popular with the young students. I do not have a picture of it here, but we also had the FFA students host kindergarten farm day out at the fairgrounds, which is always a ton of fun. The students got to see various farm animals. They learned how to make butter. They got to climb on the tractors and the combine. They had a hay ride throughout the fairgrounds, and really nice event. Oh, they also got to taste sample buckwheat and a few other grains. So I'm appreciative of the FFA for hosting that event once again. The annual FFA banquet, I don't have a slide for that, but that's this Friday. And so that's always a nice event that we look forward to. Kindergarten Right Start. So for families that want to enroll their incoming kindergartners next year, please go to the link. There's a couple electronic documents to complete. Stuff the Bus application. This is in coordination with the United Way. So if your children have needs heading into next school year, please take advantage of the Stuff the Bus application. Additional upcoming events. All-school orchestra concert, 7 o'clock tonight. The high school band concert is this Wednesday at 7, and the middle school band concert is Thursday at 7 o'clock. Congratulations to our seniors. And so I'm going to give you a range of possible graduates. There's a few that have some things up in the air, which is not atypical. But we are expecting our ALC graduation to have somewhere between 26 and 33 students participate, which is a really nice number for the ALC. Our high school will have approximately 142 to 144. And that's just our students. When you add the IQ students that are graduating, if they attend our ceremony, and many of them do, we are expecting to recognize 175 to 180 students on graduation night commencement. Seniors' last day is this Friday, where they will do their last walk throughout the district. Last day for seniors to turn work in is the 21st. Senior class trip on the 22nd, and then ALC graduation on the 23rd at 7, and high school graduation on the 24th at 7. ALC graduates in the auditorium, high school graduates in the gold gym. Want to review a little bit for the public about data requests. So on occasion, we do get data requests that come to the district, depending on the number of, or how complicated the request is, the number of pieces of data requested. By statute, we are allowed to charge a fee for our time as well as copies. That is also done with internal requests as well. So on occasion, we will have typically a bargaining unit that wants data on contracts, past settlements, those kinds of things. And we also charge those bargaining units a fee to do the work, to gather that information and to disseminate that to them. Questions about transparency as a district with some of the building moves that we have done over the last 5 years or so. So I'm just going to, all of this information has been readily shared with the public along the way multiple times through public hearings, resolutions, school board minutes. Obviously, these meetings are televised as well. But just to do a quick review for the public on where we've been and where we're heading, I'll just cover a couple of bases here. So the first piece goes back to 2019, and it was a decision to purchase the Target building. This was just as I was coming into employment by the district, so I will give my understanding of the history leading up to that decision. Our early childhood preschool programming was taking place in what we call the Heritage Building. That was a former Pomida building on the east end of town. That facility was largely, I was in there, it was largely configured with temporary partitions for walls. and kind of a makeshift area for a gymnasium. And the district had gone as far as having some architectural plans drawn up to, and a sizable investment to improve that facility. As part of that, the district would have been making payments on the upgrades, the renovation, but the district wouldn't have owned the property, is my understanding. We would have been basically leasing it and paying for the upgrades to the facility like any renter would. Instead, the district saw an opportunity to purchase the Target building, which is 89,000 square feet. The purchase price was $1.55 million. That included an 8.6 acre parcel. As you look at the building size and the purchase price, it comes out to $17 a square foot. Now that doesn't include renovation costs, but if you look at today's dollar on commercial property, you can figure roughly $400 a square foot as a rough starting point on what it's going to cost. This facility, well, first of all, I'll say there were a number of public notifications leading up to the financing and purchase of that facility. Those are listed in the slide here. I won't walk through each of them. But again, subject to public hearings, resolutions, making sure the public has every opportunity to be aware of what's taking place and the details of the purchase agreement. This facility was purchased using lease levy dollars. So lease levy dollars were generated to make the payments on the principal. The interest payments are being made through lease revenue from Children's Corner, who occupy a portion of that facility, and we use their revenue in addition to lease levy revenue to make the payments on the financing of that facility. So that was Lincoln Phase 1. Lincoln Phase 2, which we are in the process of completing right now, as long as we're talking about that, construction cleanup is right now scheduled to take place about the first week of June. Then you have a punch list to follow with a fairly tight 10-day to 14-day window. And then you have final cleanup that will take place and still on target for a July 1st occupancy. I cannot wait for the public to see that facility. It's going to be an amazing place for our students to learn. It's going to have a wonderful playground. And we will have one of the nicest early childhood kindergarten facilities in the region when this entire project is done. I think the community will be extremely proud of it. But Lincoln Phase 2, you can see the total budget was just a little bit over $11 million. That would include some contingency dollars, etc. The financing for this one was a little complicated. It entails some use of capital facilities bonding and LTFM dollars. And so when you look at capital facilities and LTFM, we are using a portion of our capital dollars, our capital revenue, and a portion of our LTFM revenue that we would get in any normal year. A portion that goes towards making payments on the financing structure for this project. Health and safety, LTFM, if you'll recall, this is the piece of financing where we had to go and lobby the state House and Senate Education Finance Committees to have the statutes changed, the laws changed to allow us to access that funding. Abatement bonding is used on things like driveways, sidewalks, some of those exterior building improvements. And then we had about $500,000 set aside in general fund to pay for this project. Again, multiple public notifications, hearings, a presentation by Ellers walking people through the financial structure of Lincoln Phase 2. That takes us to the current proposal, 102,000 square feet, grades 3 through 5, new elementary school, $54.82 million. This figure was falsely indicated as over $70 million in a last Friday on a website publication, news type publication. That's incorrect. What people are voting on tomorrow is a $54.82 million authority to build a new 3rd through 5th grade elementary school. This is really important. Questions had come up about existing debt and new debt. This has been shared with the public on our website for probably 3+ months. It has been part of every presentation given by the district to the public. But what I want the public to realize with this table right here is as you look at the gray columns and the little maroon cap on each of those, the gray columns represent existing debt, existing bond debt for our buildings. As you can see, when you look at the gray columns, over half of the building bond debt will be paid off with taxes payable. I can't read it quite from here. I think it's fiscal year 2027. And then you see that big drop down. Then you'll see 3 more years where the band is still a little bit taller. That's going to be debt that will expire in taxes payable 2030. And so after that, the existing debt is almost completely paid off in this district on school buildings. You see that little maroon cap on the top is lease levy dollars that go towards making a partial payment on some of the facilities work. But even that is kind of feathering out on the bottom of that table as you see it. For the public's information, what you see in the blue columns with the, if you can make that out at home, the white speckles, that is a representation of new debt if the new school is approved at the ballot tomorrow. You can see that the new debt was feathered in with existing debt, and what that enabled the financing folks to do is keep a level series of debt throughout the 22 years of payment within the district. And so what you are looking at again is $54.82 million. This is your tax impact. You have the ability still, even this evening or tomorrow, to go onto the district's website, use one of the tools on there from Ellers. You can plug in your market value and it will give you your projected tax impact. On a $250,000 Fergus Falls residential home, your tax impact, if you approve this measure, is $100 a year, $8 a month, 27 cents a day. If you own commercial property valued at $500,000, your annual tax impact is $453 per year. If you own farmland, minus the house, garage, and 1 acre, which is considered separately, so we're talking about your ag land only, that goes based on the valuation of your land per acre, multiplied by a factor, tax impact factor, multiplied by, so to just give you an example, if your land, let's say you have 100 acres, your land is valued at $5,000 an acre, the tax impact is 37 cents an acre annually, so you take 100 times 37 cents, and that gives you your annual tax increase on that parcel. Keep in mind your ag land is subsidized at 70%. This was legislation that was introduced probably 5 or 6 years ago. It has continued to meter up until now it's reached its cap at 70% subsidized. And then your seasonal rec residential is $500,000 lake cabin, etc. If passed, that would result in $20 per month tax increase. So anything else that people are hearing out there, these are the numbers that are going to impact your taxes based on your property valuation. Any of the other stuff, I would argue, is white noise. This is the data and information that is factual. So let's address a couple rumors this evening that still seem to perpetuate. One false rumor that was going around is that the new school, if built, would have a clinic in it where hormone treatments would be delivered to students without parent knowledge. Absolutely false. As you think about the history of schools, even giving something as simple as a flu shot is done only with parental permission, and it's done by public health. So absolutely false. There's no truth to this clinic rumor that has been started in the community. Another false rumor, the 29-acre parcel was purchased using COVID money. That 29-acre parcel was purchased using capital funds that the district had. We talked about capital funds a couple minutes ago when we were talking about financing for Lincoln Phase 2. It's the same source of, essentially same source of revenue. Another false rumor that the Prairie Wetlands Learning Center is closing. Keep in mind, they just spent a considerable amount of money to redo the parking lot and to re-side the exterior of the structure. And we have reassurance both from Will Meeks and Neil Powers on multiple occasions that the facility has a commitment to hire an administrator, director position, and an education specialist naturalist to be in place at the start of the school year. In a conversation about 2 weeks ago with Neil Powers, he also described the staffing shortage that they have endured as a short-term problem, not a long-term problem. Tomorrow, the polls will be open in 4 locations. Fergus Falls Public Library, the YMCA, Minnesota State Community and Technical College, and the Bigwood Event Center. And with that, I will turn it over to questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Drake? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, then we'll move on to our general consent items. We have the minutes from our April 22nd, 2024 board meeting and from our May 2nd, 2024 special board meeting, and then the bills and treasurer's report. Mr. Kirby.
Yes, we'll start with the treasurer's report. We have, excluding our construction fund, which is a separate fund, our balance right now is at 27.2 million. Last month it was at 27.5 million. We did have a significant number of receipts. $4.5 million in revenue came in, and had about 4.9 million going out. 3.6 million in accounts payable, and 1.3 million in payroll. So our fund balance last year was just over 16 million compared to the 19 million now. So we're, our fund balance continues to be healthy, which is good. Steve and I went through 59 pages of bills before the meeting today. So the pages add up because there's a lot of Amazon, there's a lot of credit card things. Some of the highlights, if you want to call them that. We did have $709 that went for rats that were between 7 and 9 inches, live rats. Anyways, for biology. So anyways, it's always interesting to find those. We had $5,000 that went to Cassette Electric. We had a power outage over at McKinley and took out some of the pumps, and then when the pumps quit working, and then when we started, there was a voltage issue and burned out some of the pumps that evidently had some incorrect wiring or whatever for startup. So that was paid. Solid Technology Systems, we had paid for just over half of of that would be 36,000 is what we paid, and that would be to improve the sound systems in our pool and in our gymnasiums. The total contract there would be for about 63,000, so we paid out 38,000 for that particular one. Just finishing off some of the salting, I think we spent more on salting this year than we did on snow removal, so $6,000 went out for salting for that last storm or two that we had in March. And the bulk of the dollars that went out, and I'll just name some of the vendors, we had Farmore Acoustics, $135,000 for flooring, another $166,000 for flooring, and these are all for Lincoln Phase 2. Fergus Drywall, $24,000, Gas Construction, $55,000, Lake Country Mechanical, which is the bulk of the heating and cooling system, $284,000. McDowell Company on the roof was just under $300,000. Twin City Hardware, $75,000, and Vinco for electrical, $161,000. So as we look at all the bills that we did today, which don't match up exactly to the treasurer's report because there's timing differences here, but so the bills that we approved today would be about $1 million coming out of the general fund and $1.35 million going to building construction, with about $60,000 to food service, for a total of $2.5 million in bills. So thanks to Steve for coming in early. Thanks to Renee for what she did as well. So, any questions?
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Then we'll move to Elaine, personnel.
Good evening.
A whole page of it.
Yeah, a few items here. So I'll go through these quickly here. Everything is in front of you, so it has a little bit more details without me going through all of that. Certified staff hires, these are for the 2024-25 school year. Troy Davis, Sarah Thien, and Sarah Phelps. These are all special education teachers. Ann Hintz, a general music teacher, is a .10. It's one class for 3 days out of the week is what that equates to. And it'll be a general music teacher in the middle school level. Kayla Thompson and Kaylee Graff, they'll be both long-term elementary substitute teachers for the full school year. 170 contract days is what they will have. Under certified staff overloads, Rebecca Wynn and Drew Kowalski, they had an overload at the first part of the year, and they'll continue on with the overload to the end of the year. So that's just approval of basically a full year overload if you include what you've already approved earlier. Certified staff resignations, we have 2 language arts teachers, both at the Kennedy Secondary School middle school level, Andrea Tedrick and Peyton Sconson. Support staff hires, Carter Tilkey, seasonal grounds custodian. He also worked here last year, so he'll be returning again this year. Amy Newkirk, library paraeducator. It will be nice to see her return back in a position here with us. Kathy Swanson, staff computer food service paraeducator. And then Wendy Gale, a full-time custodian here at Kennedy Secondary School. She started today. Support staff resignations, we have Sarah Stowen. Her last day is the 16th of this month. Support staff retirement, we have Sherry Bernard, paraeducator at Cleveland. A little later on during the new business, we'll have a resolution honoring Sherry and her work. The next, we have early childhood special education paraprofessionals reassignment. According to Minnesota Statute 123A 33 Subdivision 10, these are current 935 special ed paras who have the rights to a position created by the withdrawal of us from the co-op. So we do have the positions at our early childhood programs, either at Head Start or at Lincoln School. And so we do have Pamela Graff, Michelle Peasley, Taylor Thompson, and Summer Wigdahl, all on for kind of a reassignment, or hired actually through the Fergus Falls schools versus the 935. And then we have the 24-26 individual contract with our finance director, Renee Macklett. And then last, we have a request for a .6 FTE 1-year leave of absence for Lisa Schlosser, effective for the new school year 24-25. And then 2 intents to negotiate the food service and then our special education paraprofessionals. So I would request these for approval from our board.
Thanks. Can I get a motion to approve our general consent items?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Those consent items are approved. We don't have any old business, so we'll move to the new business. We have an invitation for fiscal year 25 quotes for milk and related projects. I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second that.
I know it.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. That invitation is approved. Then we have a contract, Lakeland Mental Health Center contract for school-based mental health practitioner service for Lincoln School, effective July 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve that contract?
So moved.
And a second?
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. That contract is approved. Then we have another one, Lakeland Mental Health Center contract for school-based mental health practitioner services for level 3 classrooms, effective July 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Need a motion to approve that?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. That is approved. Then we have another contract, the Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy, Inc., OSPTI - Shun Kraus Roberts contract for therapy services, effective August 20th, 2024 through May 31st, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve that contract?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Seconded.
Any discussion on that one? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. That contract is approved. Then we have the 2024-2025 school calendar for IQ Academy. Can we get a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that one? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. School calendar is approved. We have, the next item is an additional paraeducator position, 1 FTE, 6.5 hours per day at McKinley School, and 2 paraeducator positions at Lincoln School, 2 FTEs, 7 hours per day, effective for the 2024-25 school year. Can I get a motion to approve those positions?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that one? Who seconded that?
Steve.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Those positions are approved. And then we have the spring 2024 memorandum of agreement outlining the fee structure for the college and the high school program at the University of Minnesota Crookston. I get a motion to approve that agreement.
So moved.
A second.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. That agreement's approved. Okay, then we have the K through 12 health curriculum, the Great Body Shop, and PE equipment for the 2024-25 school year that Amelia presented to us tonight.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. That curriculum is approved and equipment. And then we have a resolution on the retirement of Sherry Bernard. Whereas Sherry Bernard began her employment with the Fergus Falls Public Schools in August 2013, and whereas Sherry has been a valued employee with the Fergus Falls Public Schools for the past 11 years, and whereas Sherry has been a dedicated paraeducator for the district, and now therefore be it resolved by the Fergus Falls School Board to thank Sherry Bernard for her 11 years of service to the Fergus Falls Public Schools. Someone offer that resolution for its adoption?
I'll offer the resolution and move for its adoption.
I'll second that.
And Missy, will you take roll?
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Stephen Bigginson.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. The resolution is adopted.
Thanks. So our next our meeting schedule, our next, special school board meeting, which is to canvass the May 14th bond or referendum election, is Monday, May 20th, 2024, 7:30 a.m. here at the Otter Community Room. And then our regular school board meeting is, our next regular school board meeting is Tuesday, May 28th, 2024 at 7:15 a.m. here in the Otter Community Room. Can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting tonight?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
All in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. We are adjourned.